Zara had always been the kind of woman who believed that good things came to those who are patient, not passive, but genuinely, faithfully patient. She was 32, Lagos raised, sharp in the way that only women who had learned to navigate this city could be. And she had a life that looked full from the outside, a career she had built with her own two hands, an apartment in Lekki she had furnished piece by piece, a circle of friends who loved her loudly. But there was a particular kind of quiet that settled over her some evenings, the kind that had no name, but every unmarried Nigerian woman in her 30s knew its weight. Her friends were sending her baby shower invitations now, the same girls she had grown up with, the same ones who used to argue over Fanta and Chin-Chin at secondary school were now posting maternity shoots and gender reveal videos. She told herself she was fine. She repeated it so often it almost became true. The quarterly business summit at Eco Hotel was not somewhere Zara expected her life to change. It was one of those events where everyone wore their ambition like a second outfit, and the conversation over jollof and small chops was mostly performance. She had gone because her company required it, dressed well because she always did, and had been quietly counting down to when she could leave when she felt someone settle into the space beside her. Mike. He introduced himself with the kind of ease that wasn't arrogance, just comfort, a man settled in his own skin. He told her within the first 10 minutes that she had the most quietly commanding presence in the room, and the way he said it, looking directly at her like he meant every word, made her feel seen in a way she hadn't in a long time. They talked until the event staff began folding the tables around them, and she drove home on the third mainland bridge with the windows down and something new and tentative blooming in her chest. 2 years with Mike felt like finally exhaling after holding her breath for longer than she knew. He was consistent in the way that actually mattered, not just the grand gestures, though those came too, but the small, reliable things. He remembered how she took her zobo, he showed up to her work event without being asked, he met her mother and sat with her for 2 hours asking genuine questions about her life. When he proposed at the same restaurant where they had their first real date, she did not even let him finish the sentence before she was nodding, her whole body saying yes before her voice could catch up. She called her mother first, then her friend Adaeze, then she opened Instagram and posted a photo of the ring with a caption that simply said, "He found me." 10,000 people celebrated with her that night, and she read every single comment. The wedding, when it came, was everything she had ever quietly wished for on all those lonely evenings. 400 guests, a soybe in deep burgundy and gold, a live band that kept the floor moving until well past midnight. She danced with her father, and she wept the good kind of tears, and she thought, finally, this is finally it. Cape Town received them like a gift. The hotel suite had floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out onto the Atlantic, and when Zara stood at the glass on their first evening, wrapped in the hotel robe with a glass of wine in her hand, she felt something she could only describe as complete. 14 days, just the two of them. No family WhatsApp groups, no work emails, no Lagos traffic, no noise. She had waited a long time to be someone's wife, and Mike had waited too, and so they did not waste a single morning pretending they weren't newlyweds. She called her Daisy on day 3, whispering into the phone from the bathroom while Mike ordered room service, and her Daisy screamed so loudly Zara had to hold the phone away from her ear. She was bragging, and she knew it, and she did not care even a little bit. This was the life she had prayed for on too many quiet nights, and she was going to enjoy every moment of it out loud. The days folded into each other gently and beautifully. They ordered breakfast in bed and ate it slowly. They took one trip to the V&A waterfront where Mike bought her a bracelet she hadn't asked for and clasped it on her wrist himself, holding her hand a moment longer than necessary afterward. Some evenings, they sat on the balcony, watching the sun go down over the water, not always talking, just existing together in the comfortable silence of two people who had chosen each other. She thought about how much she had doubted herself in the years before him. All those evenings she had wondered quietly if she was somehow too much or not enough or simply unlucky in love. She looked at Mike on that balcony, his profile soft in the evening light, and felt almost embarrassed that she had ever doubted it would come. This was the man, she was certain. It was the 8th morning, a Tuesday, Valentine's Day, when the first crack appeared in something she had not yet known was fragile. They had just come out of another long, slow morning together, and she was lying in the warmth of it, completely unhurried, her whole body relaxed in a way that only deep contentment can produce. Mike had his eyes half closed beside her, and she reached for her phone, the way you reach for water, purely out of habit, without intention. She opened Instagram first, scrolled past the Valentine's posts, the roses and the red and the long captions, and then her thumb moved on its own to her DMs, a folder she hadn't opened in months. And there it was at the top, unread, from an account she didn't recognize. The preview showed only a few words. "Hey Gelly, I hope you see this." Zara stared at the screen. She set the phone down on the bed. She picked it back up. Every Nigerian woman knows what a message that starts with "Hey Gelly" from a stranger means. It does not mean hello. It means brace yourself. Before we continue, do tell me where you're watching from. I want to see how far my stories go. And if you are from TikTok, the full video is already uploaded on YouTube. Enjoy. She opened the message the way you open something you already know will hurt you. Slowly, with your whole body braced. The stranger had written carefully, almost gently, like someone who had rehearsed it. "I hope you see this before you get married, but the man you are with has been cheating on you with someone you know for 6 months." Then the photos began loading one after the other, and each one landed in Zara's chest like a physical blow. Mike and Ophelia. Ophelia, who had sat across from her at dinner in Ikoyi not 3 months ago, asking about wedding colors and whether she had found a good makeup artist yet. Ophelia, who had commented "so beautiful" under her wedding photos with a red heart. Ophelia, who was also married, whose husband Emeka had shaken Zara's hand warmly at one of those dinners and seemed by every measure like a decent and unsuspecting man. The dates on the photos matched weekends Mike had told her he was in Abuja for work, weekends she had stayed in their apartment, reheating egusi soup alone and counting down to when he would come home. She sat in that beautiful Cape Town suite, the Atlantic glittering outside the window, and felt the entire architecture of the last 2 years shift beneath her. She did not scream. She did not wake Mike. She sat very still and she read everything. Every text the stranger had screenshotted, every photo, every timestamp. And when she was finished, she put the phone face down on the bed and stared at the ceiling for a long moment. The part of her that was heartbroken was real. It was enormous. It was the kind of pain that sits behind your sternum and makes breathing feel like effort. But underneath it, something else was already moving, quiet and purposeful. The part of Zara that Lagos had built, the part that knew that falling apart was a luxury she would allow herself later, in private, when the work was done. She thought briefly about annulment, then dismissed it the way you dismiss something that will only cost you more than it cost them. She was not about to let people whisper that something had gone wrong in the bedroom or that she had done something to drive him away. No, she had done nothing wrong. She was going to make sure the whole world knew exactly who had. She turned to Mike, still half asleep and completely unaware that his life was about to be rearranged, and she softened her voice into something easy and honeymoon warm. "Babe," she said, "go run us a bath, a proper one with the salts." He smiled without opening his eyes, murmured something affectionate, and rolled out of bed. She listened to his footsteps, listened to the bathroom door, listened to water begin to fill the tub, and then she moved with the quiet efficiency of a woman who had already made up her mind. His phone was on the nightstand, exactly where it always was. No passcode, because trustworthy Mike had nothing to hide. She unlocked it and went straight to his messages, and the last conversation open on the screen was with Ophelia. She read it slowly. He had texted her 2 days ago from this hotel, from the honeymoon suite, telling her he missed her, that he was counting down the days until he could see her again, ending it with, "I love you." Zara read it twice. Then she began to work. She screenshotted everything. The texts, the photos, the timestamps, the "I love yous" sent from a honeymoon suite, all of it. She went to Instagram and she composed a post with the calm and precision of a woman who had been wronged in a way that deserved a proper audience. She uploaded the evidence, tagged Ophelia's account directly, and then found Emeka's page and tagged him too, because he deserved to know what his wife had been doing on those dinner evenings they had all shared together. She wrote no long caption. She did not need one. The evidence spoke with a clarity that no words could improve. She sent the entire package to Mike's family WhatsApp group, his mother, his aunties, his brothers, everyone who had danced at that wedding 6 days ago and wished them long life and prosperity. Then she slid his phone quietly beneath the mattress, smoothed the sheets over it, and sat back against the headboard with her own phone in her lap, and her heartbreak tucked somewhere behind her ribs, where it could not be seen. Mike came out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist and steam following him to the door, his face open and unsuspecting, still wearing the expression of a man on his honeymoon. "Bath is ready," he said. "You coming?" Zara looked at him the way you look at something you are seeing clearly for the very first time. "No," she said simply. She watched the confusion move across his face, and then she watched something else replace it as his eyes went to the nightstand where his phone was not. He checked the bed, he checked the floor, he tried to retrace his steps with the controlled panic of a man who needed to know exactly how much time had passed. She sat perfectly still and watched him, the way you watch a performance you already know the ending of. He pulled back the duvet, he checked under the pillows. His movements were getting faster now, less controlled, and she said nothing, offered nothing, just watched with the quiet dignity of a woman who had already finished what she came to do. He found the phone under the mattress, and the moment he unlocked it, she could see on his face the exact second the world he had constructed fell apart. The notifications were coming in already, his mother, his brother, Ophelia's husband, Instagram comments multiplying by the second. He looked up at her and opened his mouth, and she held up one hand, not dramatically, not with tears, just firmly, the way you stop a conversation that no longer has anything useful in it. Whatever he said in that room in Cape Town, whatever explanation or plea he attempted to build, history would not record it because Zara had already decided he did not get to explain himself to her. Later that evening, as she sat alone on the balcony watching the Valentine's Day sun go down over the Atlantic, Ophelia texted her, not an apology, just, "Why would he do this to me?" Zara read it once, put the phone face down on the table, and picked up her wine. It was the saddest Valentine's Day of her life, and also, she would realize much later, the most important one. Because sometimes the greatest act of love you will ever perform is the one you perform for yourself. And Zara, heartbroken and dignified and completely clear-eyed, had loved herself enough to walk away the moment she found out. Well, that's it for today, besties. My question is, what would you have done if you were in her position? Lastly, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Say it back in the comments.